in the Lord. Lord, we honor you, oh God. Lord, we thank you for who you are, oh God. Thank you for your spirit moving in this place today, oh God. Thank you, Lord, that you loved us so much, oh Father God, that you sent your Son to die for our sins, oh God. And as we come to the word, oh God, we pray in the mighty name of Jesus. In the mighty name of Jesus. In the mighty name of Jesus. Because there's no name above heaven or earth that's more powerful than the mighty name of Jesus. So we pray in the mighty name of Jesus that you would have your will and your way as we break open the bread of life, oh God. We love you. We thank you for what you've done in our church, Lord. We've said it before, but thank you how you've blessed our First Lady and brought her through the surgery, oh God. Thank you how you brought Minister Wingfield home, oh Father. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, Lord, that you're the God that we can ask for things, oh God, but we don't want to be negligent and not say thank you for what you've done, oh God. So we thank you for how you've moved in this place, oh God. Thank you for the blessings that we don't even know about, the praise reports that we don't even hear about, but how you're moving and you're blessing and you're giving us things, Lord, because you gave us life, health, and strength, and we say thank you, oh God. So bless this place today, oh God. Bless our pastor who leads us and guides us, Lord. Encourage him, Lord. Strengthen him, oh God. Continue to fill him with your precious Holy Spirit, oh God. And we'll be more than mindful to give you all the glory, the honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen, amen, amen. Amen. It's always a privilege and an honor to stand before God's people. Thank our pastor for having confidence or even pity to allow us to get up here in this place to minister to his people. We're going to go in the words later, Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. Verse 13. You are the salt of the earth. Amen. You can sit down. Did I shock you today? You are the salt of the earth. As we go home today, a lot of us that come from a certain persuasion of the darker color will partake in a weekly tradition. It's a tradition that was passed down to us from generation to generation. It's something that I have come to value, I think, a little more than I should have. And that is the tradition called fried chicken. You have Church's chicken, you have KFC chicken, you have my favorite, which is Publix chicken, you have Piggly Wiggly chicken, you have Kroger chicken, you have chicken, you got Mother Wesley chicken, you got every kind of chicken. But there's one thing about chicken that is universal. Chicken is not chicken without the salt. Can I get an amen on that? We can shout right there, chicken is not chicken without the salt. There's a place in Atlanta called the Piccadilly. That brother will give me some shout music talking about chicken. There's a place in Atlanta called the Piccadilly, and the Piccadilly does not put salt on their chicken, at least not enough. And when I spoke to the guy, because, you know, I got a little Pastor McClain in there, if it ain't right, I got to talk about it. I said, brother, what's wrong with the chicken? And he said, well, because of our clientele have a certain diet and we're not able to put the season on it like we should. He said, so we have to make it bland enough so it's palatable for everybody to eat. And I said, brother, make me some fresh chicken and put some salt on my chicken. Something about salt. It's something about salt. When it comes to French fries, my son and I like our French fries out of the grease, and you can't have French fries without the salt on there. And those of y'all that have learned to go to the wing spots are taking a step further. They put seasoning salt on the fries. And they allow you, because they know how we like our salt, they just put it on the can and let us sprinkle it out when you get the wings. Can I get an amen? I don't know what kind of chicken they had back in Jesus' day, but Jesus told his people that you are the salt of the earth. And they understood what that meant. Now, just to give a little bit of a historical purpose, salt was very important back in those days. If you remember, salt was used for flavoring. It's how they flavored their meats, how they flavored their food. But salt was also used for preserving their food. Imagine going fishing and you have your catch. And you know, when we went on the men's fishing trip a couple of years ago, I noticed that once we pulled the fish out, they had to pour ice on the fish to keep the fish from going bad, because we had an 8-hour trip back to Macon with those fish that we caught. Some of us caught fish, but that's another story. But in those days, they didn't have ice to pour all over the fish, so they had to take salt to preserve it. Imagine putting your catch on a donkey and having to go through Capernaum and Galilee for a mile to get your fish to the market. You had to have the salt to keep the fish from going bad. So Jesus talks to them as a part of the Beatitudes, and he says, you are the salt of the earth. What does that say for us? It says that it is our job in this culture, in this community, in this earth, to be the flavor of our environment. It says it is our job as salt shakers. Shake your salt. Everybody got a salt packet? Shake your salt. It's our job to preserve our community. Salt was very valuable. As a matter of fact, there were even 11 purposes of salt back in those days. Salt was used for fertilizer. It was used for preservation. It was used for flavoring. Salt was so important that the Roman soldiers were paid in salt. When a Roman soldier was paid in salt, they didn't do their job. They said, that soldier's not worth his salt. Have you ever heard that saying before? They said, that person's not worth their salt. That's where that came from, because salt was that powerful. We see that Jesus goes a step further, says, but, whenever you see the word but cancels out what you just saw in the line before that. He says, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? This is a contradiction in terms of salt not being salty. There's a problem in that text when he says, there's a problem when our salt is not salty any longer. When salt loses its saltiness, imagine that chicken that we talked about, and we're going to get out here early enough so y'all can get some chicken. I wish I would have tapped some chicken stock before I came and preached today, because the stock price is going to rise. Everybody eating chicken today. But when you get your chicken today and you think about the salt, imagine if they poured a whole lot of salt in it, but it didn't flavor the chicken at all. Imagine if you got your French fries on and they shook a whole can of salt on it, but when you tasted it, it just tasted like potatoes with no salt flavor. My wife makes the best cakes in the world, I believe. And I noticed that even in her, somebody said, amen, all right now. Thank you. Shameless plug. But she makes the best cakes in the world, and I noticed that she even puts salt in her cakes. Because, I hope I didn't tell the recipe, but it brings out the flavor of the cake. Salt not being salty is a contradiction, sort of kind of like a Christian not being Christ-like. So if salt is not salty, it's equivalent to a Christian not being Christ-like, then we have lost our purpose in this world. If our purpose in this world was to be a Christian and not be salty and not to share the gospel with others, then the moment you accepted Christ into your life, you would immediately just go to heaven. But there's a reason why the Lord leaves us here for a while. He leaves us here for a while because we're designed to be salty. I noticed that we sit under the word oftentimes and pastors just throwing salt. See, in the hood, that meant a negative thing, throwing salt. But in the kingdom, throwing salt and giving salt is a positive thing. And we sit here every week and we get all this salt. And I've learned something, is that when we retain too much salt, there are things, Dr. Harrington, that happens to our body. We start developing high blood pressure. We get swollen up and our ankles start swelling, and we can't put our shoes on because we've retained too much salt. So the purpose of us getting the salt in the kingdom is so that we can get the salt and then go and spread the salt. The word is designed for us to take it and process it and spread it into our communities. I think about how Jesus went in his ministry and how he was salt in every situation he went to. And Jesus was spreading salt in areas that other people didn't want to salt. For example, they didn't think that the children were worth their salt. But when Jesus ministered to the children, he said, "Let them come unto me." Jesus talked to a sinful woman, a woman who people would otherwise not even want to touch. But he said, "I can salt this situation." Jesus went to tax collectors who they despised. I know tax day just came, and all of us kind of don't like the IRS right now unless you're getting the refund. But Jesus was hanging out with the tax collectors. He touched a woman who was bleeding. Do you know when a woman was bleeding, and she was bleeding for a really long time, she was considered unclean and no one wanted to touch her, but Jesus didn't mind putting salt in that situation. We think about the demon-possessed man. He was possessed so much they called him Legion, and no one wanted to touch him. They just put him away in the caves, and Jesus went into that situation and spread some salt. Y'all can say amen. It's okay. You think about the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. Minister Friends preached that a few weeks ago. No one else would want to talk to her and touch a woman like that, but Jesus went and put salt in that situation. I don't know about y'all, I'll be done in just a moment, but if we can just get in our system that we need to spread some salt in our community, we need to spread some salt in our area. I think about places like Bloomfield that need some salt. Have you ever ate something? Have you ever eaten something and said it needs some salt? When I look around the situation, I think about last week. There is a tragedy or tragedies that have happened in our community with the violence. Heard about a woman where they said a bullet traveled 315 yards at 2 o'clock in the morning and went through her kitchen and killed her while she was standing there. She didn't do anything wrong. Just sitting in her kitchen. Our sheriff, he issued a statement and said there's an element of pure out meanness going on here in Bibb County. He said, in the level of evilness that we see, David said. And then he said a statement that was strong. He said he wanted to let the citizens of Bibb County know that the cavalry is coming. That sounded real good, but I felt like it was the wrong seat. I wish that we had a situation where he could have gotten up and said there's a level of sin going on in this community. And this sin is getting out of control. But citizens of Bibb County let you know that the Christians are coming. The Christians are standing up, and the Christians are getting active, and the Christians are full of salt. And we're coming into situations that are dead. We're coming to situations that are evil, and we're letting the world know that the Christians are coming. Bloomfield needs the Christians to come. Pleasant Hill needs the Christians to come. Vineville needs the Christians to come. Napier needs the Christians to come. Ingleside needs the Christians to come. Shirley Drive needs the Christians to come. Houston Avenue, Log Cabin, Mercer University Drive, Riverside Drive, Zebulon Road, Bass Road, East Macon, South Macon, North Macon, West Macon need the Christians to come. The schools need the Christians to come. We need salt in the schools. Salt at West Side, and salt at Southwest, and salt at Central, and salt at Howard, and salt at Rutland. It's only 4 people that believe we need salt. Do y'all understand what the salt does? The salt brings the flavor into the dead situation. The salt is Jesus Christ. If you don't believe it, just keep sitting there. But if you believe it, say amen. Because we need some salt in this community. I told you the problem is when the Christians sit down. I don't care what the sheriff do. He can see the cavalry, but the cavalry can't help seeing. He can put undercoats on the block, but they can't help seeing. It's the Christians. Yeah. The church is the last hope. The church is the last hope. If we want a difference to be made, don't wait for the cops to do it. It's the church that does it. We gotta catch that. We gotta catch that. We gotta catch that. We got to catch that, because the Bible says the gates of hell shall not prevail against God's church. But God's church got to get up out the seat. God's church got to get rid of the salt. We get fat under the word, and I'm not trying to reprove you or rebuke you, but we get fat under the word, and we can evangelize and change this community. You don't have to wait for the cops to do it.
Amen. Amen. All right.
My notes tricked me. My notes told me that everybody was going to be standing to their feet. My notes tricked me. I don't even want to stick with my notes. My notes said, pause right there because it's going to be shouting time. My notes said to get ready because they're going to march out. My notes said a revolution was about to happen. My notes said a revival was going to take place. My notes said that the Christians were standing up. But I missed it somehow. I don't know if my notes deceived me. But I rebuked that enemy in the name of Jesus. That will make us be complacent and not focused on the kingdom purpose. He told us to go and make disciples. Thank you, Jesus. Yes. Our situations need some salt, y'all. Our families need some salt, y'all. Our communities need some salt, y'all. Wherever you at, they need salt. If you think you're in a bad position, this guy has you there because that place needs some salt. That's why he put you there. That's why he put you in that bad situation, because they need salt. That's why you might be in a bad marriage, because your husband needs some salt. That's why you have bad kids, because your kids need some salt. That's why your family's all jacked up, because they need salt. And you got exactly what they need. He has equipped you. He has equipped you with exactly what you need. Colossians chapter 4, verse 5 through 6. And I'm going to stop right here because y'all ain't hearing me. Amen. How do we express this salt? Colossians chapter 4, verse 5. It says, Colossians 4, verse 5. Be wise in the way you act toward outsiders. Be wise in the way you act. This is to Christians. Be wise in the way that you act towards outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Make the most of every opportunity. God has given us opportunities all over this place to spread our salt, to season the atmosphere, to bring out the flavor. Let your conversation be always full of grace. Your conversations, the things we talk about, let it always be full of grace. And here's the kicker, and seasoned with salt. Seasoned with salt. So we think about our conversations. Do we have conversations that are seasoned with salt, where we're putting the salt of the word into the conversations? Because they don't want to hear your opinion, but they want to hear what God is saying. And don't let any opportunity pass you by where we can sprinkle the salt of the word of God into our conversations. So that you may know how to answer every single person. We gave everybody salt packets. Pastor already gave y'all the rules. Don't open it up and don't eat it. But hopefully this will act as a reminder. And if you need more salt, we'll get it to you. What we're asking is, when you go to your jobs tomorrow, put some salt on your desk. So when somebody comes talking, as you look down on the salt, let it be a reminder that you season your conversation with salt. Some of y'all might need to put some salt on your dashboard for when they cut you off and you about to get on that unholy finger. You look at that salt and you say, praise the Lord. Somebody might need to put some salt on your pillow, so when that man or that wife come home and start talking that stuff and you about to give them a piece of your mind, you look at that pillow and say, babe, I got some salt for you. So take the salt and let it represent what the Lord is going to do in your life. Somebody, you might need to just like a necklace or something. Just tape it to your shirt or something. Tape it to your hand, or just tape it to your mouth, or do whatever you got to do. But let's try that for 1 week. Try to sprinkle all of your conversations with salt.
Yes,
See what the Lord does for you. Use this just as a reminder. We didn't pray on the salt. There's no anointing on the salt. It's just an image of what the Lord is saying, that we as Christians, we want to change this world. We want to change our community. Just sprinkle salt. And if you don't know how to sprinkle salt, just seek God. Read His Word. Pray. He'll give you opportunities. It says make the best of every opportunity. And He will show you what to say. We don't have all the answers. We're not going to be perfect in what we're doing. But it's in the intent of your heart. If you have a heart full of salt, it's going to come out in everywhere you go. Amen. What we want to do is we want to just take just a moment as we prepare for a time of prayer. I want you just to focus just for a moment on areas in your life that you know need some salt. Family members, your job, your community, wherever the Lord is speaking to you. Because I believe in the power of the Holy Spirit that He's speaking to you and telling you areas that need salt. You might have to repent and say, Lord, I've been holding too much salt to myself. And now I got high blood pressure because I'm not releasing the salt. And you may want to just make a new commitment today and say, Lord, from this point on, I'm going to be a salty Christian. I'm going to make sure that everywhere I go, I'm seasoning the atmosphere with the salt of your spirit. The altar is open. If you can stand to your feet, have our ministers stand in place. I believe the Lord is calling our church to be a salty church. Amen. Our community, Bloomfield, needs it, y'all. Bibb County needs it. Thank you. Through the power of the Holy Spirit, we're going to make a difference.